everyone, how you doing today? Thought I would work on the space station a bit more here, and I did do some more off screen again, but I got a couple projects lined up for today, and I'm kind of breaking down every little thing to a different project. What I was really trying to do is get things dialed in for this 45-degree docking. Since it's kind of a new feature, something I haven't done before, I know they work pretty good at docking right up on a straight edge. But at 45, it's a little bit different, but not too bad. So I'm testing it with an actual module now, rather than a test module, one that goes down a little bit further and also has this thing out on the top here that would prevent it from docking in any closer. And this is about as close as I got it so far as in docking. Of course, since I'm on a planet and CVs actually don't dock to bases, they sort of do, but it's weird. So it'll stay there like I am right now. Here, let me bring this back out again. Probably collapse to the ground here. Also, I spawned this on a planet, so we have much better lighting. I was troubled in space myself. Some comments that it was really dark, and most of that last video actually did have a light on. It's just it wasn't very bright, and it was still dark. So I think this will help a little bit. Anyway, this is what I've got right now for this thing. It's not quite done. I sort of slapped some blocks in there, and because I'm building at a 45 on this whole side, things look a little bit unusual. Like certain lines, like this line messing up with this line and stuff like that. It kind of breaks up the monotony of how blocks would normally look together. But what I wanted to do now is take a look and work out this wall over here. Now I got some general blocks laid. The wall, for the most part, I think I want it to be sort of flat, but I want to get some more into it. And basically I was taking a look at where the actual mounts here dock up, which would be kind of to the sides and about this area here. And I want to make sure that's a nice flat area, but some of the other areas around here I was thinking, well, let's see what we can do with chopping those up into something a little different. So let me restock my steel blocks a minute. Again, I can't really do any of this project with symmetry on, at least at this time, because I'm only working on a quarter of it right now, which will get copied around. So I want to dig into this wall a little bit, see what kind of funky things we can do to make it look interesting. So at first I'm thinking about taking out a couple blocks here on the ground level on each side. And I'm thinking this would be kind of a neat place for some glass or something. Now typically with glass, on how I normally do it, is I don't like glass tall. I usually try to use slits of glass, like one block row high, because it has a way of making the entire creation look bigger that way. In which I kind of like the look of that. So let me get some fancy glass here a minute. Thought I already had some. I guess I don't. I've been back and forth between working on SVs and this, so I've been all over the place here. So what I'm thinking about doing now is, yeah, let's try to. We could either put the glass right at the edge, or we could indent it a half block. I'm curious on how it would work if it was indented a half block. How would the ends come out here? So we'll try that. This would add some neat stuff for both the inside and the outside to look at, though. So that's kind of what it's about. And let's see the glass here on the side. Just see if there's another glass chunk that could work here. I guess I could take it all the way to the edge like that, but I don't know if I like that or not. So what I'm thinking about doing is using a block over here instead, and I think this would just have to be a block like this. Nah, maybe not. Maybe just take it in like that. actually it would be the same on all of these. I'll probably have to flip a couple of those around for texture purposes, but okay, so now we got some 45-degree windows in there. Now I've got, so above the door there's a line here that's not obviously above the windows right now, and I'm kind of wondering if I shouldn't. Oh, but I gotta make sure I keep docking areas in this area flat too. That could screw that up a little bit. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so these start one block down from the top, at least on that creation. So that would be in this position, in this position. If I indented this position, I guess it would still work. One sec, though. I'm going to spawn one other creation just to take a look at it to make sure it would work as well. And that is the Janus. The Janus, I actually have the docking mounts down. One block. This will probably fall to the ground. Doesn't have any thrusters in it stock. Okay, so the docking mounts on this one start let's see, one block, two block, oh, 3 blocks down from the top. So top, 1, 2, 3. Oh, ooh, yeah, they are lower. Okay, so I want to clean this area up again. Let's cut down these windows a little bit. It's just important to get all this working right off the gates here. So I guess these windows are going to become a little bit smaller. The same general idea here. So we'll get rid of those and we'll put in a couple of these again. Should flip on the inside, and then we'll put in a standard 45 here. Okay, so now we got little windows. I guess that works. As in cutting into it over here, though, I think that'd be a bad idea, unfortunately. Maybe I could cut into it above the window, though. That could be kind of neat. I think that's clear of where any of those docking things would be. I mean, it doesn't really make a difference either because it doesn't really dock, which is, I wish it did, but it doesn't really do it. But let's take out like that row of blocks there, like this, and then let's try to indent this in one way or another. I can't use those blocks for it, and whatever I did would have to be a 45 or less. So if we went with that, we're the same. Okay, so I think what is going to happen here is we'll need one of these in the center, and then a couple of these small ones here. We could repeat those same blocks on that part of it. So yeah, let's just build that right up that way. And let's mess with this. Let's put in a round in the middle of those, just for the heck of it. Break it up a little bit, make it look a little bit different, I suppose. Alright, so now on the insides, let's go back to more of these for now. Oops. Okay, and I gotta get a couple more of these little blocks in here. Most time I look back to and look at what I just did. Is like, do I like that or do I not like that? And if I don't like that, I'll change it now, because obviously getting this worked out is the biggest thing. I mean, it's got to be right. It's got to be set up to be like finalized so it can be copied over to the other sides of the base. So just want to make sure I put all the time and effort needed into this to make it work right. One other thing I wanted to bring up too, with this this piece here, which is actually meant to hold when you pull up and you dock to it. It's meant to level you out, and it actually does work because it usually it should fit to the bottom side of most of the modules. So when you push up, it levels you and makes this connection here nice. The side effect with this piece is I'm literally failing to figure out where I'm going to put LCDs on it, because I need to put some LCDs on it for the guide markers that come in here, and I haven't really come up with a solution on how I'm going to get sensors in the area yet. I'll keep working on that though. Alright, well, we did some of this stuff up here. Now what I'm curious about, can I do anything to the top blocks up on here? If I could add in, you know, more things that mess with it, the better. So okay, so we got a flat area here for the docking pieces, which should come into this region somewhere. Up here we got a straight line right now, and this is what I would like to mess with. Now I cannot go out further or it would mess up docking, but what can actually be done here is the question. So I'm kind of looking out of the box at different blocks that could line up to this kind of angle and seeing how that would work out. Now I could tilt it in a little bit, like that. That might work out. Okay, so if we did a couple of those, put in a couple of those on the center, and the inside here could just be again a full block. A lot of things will probably get swapped out once the interior starts getting rolling. I do have some neat ideas for the interior. That's kind of what excites me a little bit about this, is the fact that I'm going to be dealing with this kind of a large open area, but with modules docked on all 8 sides of it. Could probably do some interesting rooms that are kind of at a 45-degree angle or roundish or something like that, just to split it up, because I think for the most part we're used to seeing square rooms and stuff in Empyrion. You can do angled, but they usually are not as efficient because all the blocks you got to use for that, trying to fit it. So square rooms typically work better. Alright, so now we've got some new blocks in there. Not so sure if I want to do anything with the center here, because I wanted to have a marking there for guide docking. And right now it's the center area here is where my alignment kind of is. Maybe I can find a better decal temporarily for that. But alright, so let's try to texture this up and see if we can find some neat things to add to it. First thing I wanted to see is these blocks here, I believe, should be individual, should be able to be textured individually. These going up the sides here, because they're 2 different blocks, like that. So let's just put some general kind of trim stuff here a minute. And let's see, for coloring and stuff like that. Now, I don't have anything finalized on coloring. Here, I'll turn on the light too, just to make sure it's nice and bright in here. On the bottom here, what I am curious about this block that I've got here, maybe I should manipulate that a little bit too, but not with full. We're going to have to probably go to this angle set here again, like that. And then determine if that actually looks better or not. Don't know yet. Can have some of these filler blocks here, and then okay, I can't actually do that. There is a reason I had that out there like that, and that is because the next dock over starts right here. I was trying to keep them as close together as possible so I could keep the structure as small as possible. And by what I just did there, now I got an open gap going up to the wall over here, so that does not work. There was a reason I didn't do that. Okay, that makes sense. So, this piece, no matter what I do, it really does have to be a block that can cover up all the way through it. So it's got to be pretty much that block on the corners, and then that would force me to put the other block back here, and then we were at the same place we just started out at. So in that case, let's just undo the latest group of changes. Okay, so that has to stay that way. Alright, makes sense. So yeah, look how skinny that actually is between there. But at different perspectives, when you're looking at it at this view, it looks solid. And when you look at it from this view, it looks solid. So you never know that you're really that skinny going in between the two bays. Alright, so let's we need to get in some color or something here. So I'm gonna experiment a little bit with that. See how it comes out. Let's try some of these. I'm replacing some that have weird angles on it right now, and then we'll not replace the texture on some others. Again, I don't know if I'm gonna like this or want to keep this. And let's change the direction of those for now. And then in the center, could mix and match, could try to do something like that, and then maybe something different above it. Something like that, looks alright. Okay, and this piece here should probably be, should that be red, or should I, could actually add lights to it, but they're not going to line up very well. At least that light. I don't know if any lights are. No, I think all of them are going to be kind of weird. That would work, though, if I wanted to keep it colored, or not colored. But I think for now, that might be my best plan. Let's do black on the bottom and the insides of this for now. Okay. Now, general color. Say, let's try to go dark on the bottom here. I'll also replace that with some metal texture, see if I can keep some of it, some lines in there at least. Like that line there. So I sprayed the whole thing with that texture just so I could keep like a couple lines that sort of line up alright. It's very typical. Very typical doing that. Oh yeah, that'll work out right in the corner. How about this piece here, a different shade? How about we go with just gray on this? Put in a couple of those to make it look like it's some kind of connection piece or something. And maybe, okay, so we get two textures across here. Try to do like that, and then we'll put some of that over the top of it. Alright, so now painting. Obviously I got some dark lines over there. I was looking at kind of like some kind of painting pattern here, maybe with whites and grays. So let's try with a darker shade of white going up the sides up here for now. Probably on both sides. And I think those should be dark. I'm kind of wondering if so I could actually put in more of that, but that's getting a little bit, almost too much of that. Alright, so let's get rid of some of the stupid here. How about a couple lights here? Maybe there and in the top. And then let's fill in a couple of the weird ones here. That. Okay, in the center. Let's go with a brighter white. It's a little bit different. Now, I know I could line that up so this line goes that way, although it's kind of like off from the rest of it then. But maybe part of that would look alright. So let's get rid of some of these. See how that comes out. That's alright. Okay, and then in the center. Let's have out some silver or gray. Mentally, I look at some of these colors differently, like as more of a material as opposed to just a different color shade. So sometimes I'll look at this like it's like aluminum or silver. You know, it's just stock gray, pretty much. Alright, how about some dark on the top. Then in the center here, this would be kind of neat if that actually was dark as well. But keep in mind there'll be some LCD or something hopefully over this, and that decal will be gone. I'm thinking right here though would be a great place for some texture lights as well. So what actually fits there? Maybe it should be white here. Or I use those down here. And up here it could be darker, maybe with a couple of caution things or something. Now in the center, this part. Just trying to figure out what could look good there. Oh, those lights work quite well. That actually does line up to that part that's there. That one doesn't though. Maybe if it was just solid or... Oh, that doesn't really line up well either. Well, maybe solid there. Okay, so we got a couple lights. Got that going on. Let's work on these walls here a minute. So we got the darker part, so I don't want to do these dark, so let's just try to keep the same color going on those parts. Keep all the lines the same way. Oh, except this bottom row should be dark. A lot of it I gotta blank out anyway. Okay, so what I notice on this side is I got this side right where the block is rotated correctly, so I can put something over here on the edges, and I'm thinking about throwing in some kind of like texture light, at least on the top and bottom there. And this side, can't do that right now because I got the blocks rotated 180 off, I guess you could say. So grab some of these and flip it around, place one, see how it textures. Okay, that's right this time. Alright. So we replaced a bunch of them. Now I should be able to get those texture lights on top and bottom. Now we can recolor the rest of them here. Like that. And then beyond just the texture lights to it, it gives me a edge that I can change the color with or something else. How about a little dark in here? I'm thinking those lights ought to be dark then too if I do that. But not as dark. Faint lights, they still work. Just a little darker, a little something to look at more than anything else. Alright, didn't do the bottoms here either, or the glass. So let's just put in something like that. I don't think there's any real texture that would work at that angle. Oh, that was the glass. Okay. Well, if it is the glass, let me mess with the glass. Put in like those, and maybe like that in the center. Add a little bit of texture detail with the glass. Okay, and then on the bottoms here, I'm gonna just do some more of that stuff. Now keep in mind, this is also, everything I'm doing here is kind of like first run, like I'm trying to plot out the original thing, and then later on I'll try to like tweak and enhance that, sometimes by adding different textures and other things. In fact, I kind of want to get something more in here. It's a little plain yet, even for a first run. I'm thinking like maybe some fence or something. Break it up. So I don't think did I do that with the right color? No. This row is that color. And okay, so the outer edges over here. I've been debating whether or not I keep this piece. It does work though. It puts up kind of a wall between the two bays, and that might help a little bit. So, alright. Let's get some more dark in here. On the inside at least. I hate running angles like that. Cutting off like part of the dark part of it. Or the texture. End pieces here. Now, these could have some neat looking lights, I think, mounted in here. Maybe a big light like that. I'm doing the same thing over there though, so it's like I don't want to keep repeating the same texture, but there's not too many other options in lights that would work for a big light. Could do something like that. Though. Alright, well I want these dark too, so let's try a medium darkness over here and spray up some of that. Try to why I painted part of that again and not all of it is just seeing if I can do something with color here, like put some different kind of line in that section, make it look right. Like it's got kind of that weird angle pattern now. If I keep it a different shade, but that doesn't jive very well with the rest of it. So let's see. Okay. Maybe I do keep that row dark. this row, maybe go a shade up. And fill in some of this. Alright, definitely better. I don't know if I like the texture here though. I just don't think that's the right look I'm wanting. Whatever I do, I gotta have two of them. Could just go with flat. That. Oh, that's right, this was supposed to be at a different tone, wasn't it? Like that. Alright, looking better. So the top, what can be done here with the top? Now I thought a little bit about the interior already on where floors are going to be, and essentially up here by this window there'll be a floor. It'll be kind of low ceilings on the outer edge, but then it gets to pretty tall ceilings going through whatever else is on that floor, and then you've got another floor at this level, which would also have a 2-block tall ceiling. Now, a big part of this, so is it needs places for furnaces, probably quite a few of them. In that case, I'm going to need 3-block tall ceilings minimum for that. So I'll work out how that's all going to come into play once I get diving into the interior a little bit more. I also see I got a lot of this not colored over here. Alright, so with coloring this top part, since we're at a weird angle, I'm just kind of wondering if I could do something neat at an angle with it. Like looking at some of these different shapes that you get in the mix here. How does that texture on the inside here? Oh, it's going to give me no opportunity to make that quite right. Let's take it one more row on the inside here. What I'm looking at is how it lines up with the top here. And maybe this should have been a different color then. So this shade here is that this color? Yeah, it is. Could just fill the rest of that in with that shade. But I kind of wanted it to match the black over here. With a darker shade of gray. Ooh. Oh, so that goes right. No, I guess it doesn't. Okay, I thought that bled over the edge. It does not. Good. Weird. So I think the rest of this could probably just be filled in. To me, it's really important when I texture stuff with this particular texture that I do this thing with the line. So, and a kind of a standard practice ever since I figured it out a long time ago. It's like the one thing why I didn't like this texture, or well, really any texture, is because of lines running every different direction. That to me, it just kind of pulls you out of like looking realistic. So I can't really do them any way you'd want to do them, but I can minimize the number of lines so it doesn't stick out. But you're not entirely lacking lines, so you've got some detail there where it's not totally flat as well. So, alright, so now we've got this part kind of down here. I really hate those little things I put here. That just doesn't look good. Alright, so that's a little bit better. So let's get over here. Make sure I'm doing the same color there. Some other missing stuff. Alright, so that was one of the things is trying to get this baseline worked out. Now, you know what? Right now I'm going to temporarily get rid of these vents here too. Oh wait, that was... And the reason why is I wanted to play a little bit with decals. See if see what I can do with decals here. Sometimes I use those. They're obviously always going to be white. I wish you could color them and stuff, but I'm actually trying to do is figure out if I can make like a docking little pattern here or something to break it up. So I don't want to go quite to the ceiling, so I'm thinking like standard landing gears would dock somewhere in that area. This is the problem too when you go to remove a decal. If you use the same tool, it recolors it even though it's told not to. Kind of a problem. And you can fix it pretty easy. Okay, so in these in-between textures here, I don't like how they're kind of like down from the top. So let's change this a little bit. Again, let's build these lines up one more. The whole reason why I'm doing decals with this tool now, I always used to do it with the separate, just the regular texture tool, is that tool broke. So it doesn't work at all anymore. So at least that last time I tried it, it didn't function. So I was forced, if I wanted to do decals, to use this other tool instead. So now I'm going to try to mess up or change some of these, and when those lines will go right in the middle of this decal, which is, I did that with the Helios as well on some of this stuff. Although I didn't want that pattern repeating so quickly there. So you know what? I'm gonna do this, modify this one more time. Back to symbols. Supposedly don't change the color, but it's not gonna listen if I try to remove a decal. Okay, so then we'll replace these middle ones with just I don't know, metal or something, and the outer ones. That, put in another one of these outsides and of that tone on the insides, and those kind of illuminate a bit at night. You don't see those texture lights in there much during the day, which is fine. Yeah, it's gonna need more detail in here. I'm not so sure about my whole dark thing here or these lines I put in. Now, come to think of it, love to be able to put something in here where I got a line that goes up like that, but I don't think that's going to be too easily achievable. Alright, so a little bit more on that part. Let's see, I think on this video too, another part I wanted to address, I keep on reworking the side corner thing. This is like revision 5 of it, and I'm still not totally happy with it. So maybe I'll try to think of something else a little bit different over there. I don't mind this front part here. I kind of like how the angles line up in conjunction with the 45 sticking out here, but I don't, this top section here, just, Anyway, I also have a problem with this section over here. Now when I was doing this is my center point. So I also realized that where I've got these other positions out here right now, they need to, oh, wait a minute, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh no, the center point would be exactly where they are. Okay. Basically, it has to be 19, so you can dock 17 wide modules here. And I got that measured out. I guess I did have it right. Alright. So this part up here kind of sucks. A little boring, a little plain. Not totally sold on the solar panels in here. And that leads me to another issue. Of course, I want this to be compatible with vanilla and reforged, but the differences in solar panels really screw you up. Because I want to run at least 24, but vanilla only allows for 15. So what do I do with a creation that's supposed to support both? Not run 15, which totally doesn't work for this base or really any count, logical count of solar panels, or not put them here at all and just set up some kind of solar array on the bottom area where you can add your own solar panels, I guess, after the fact, which would, I don't know, seems to me like it would be a little bit of extra busy work that I don't know if anybody would really appreciate or not. One idea is I could set them down in a little bit like I did there. But if I did put solar panels in this section, which is a great place to put them really, I think, because they're kind of like a little out of the way, but this top one was too high, where it was coming up past the top of the base, where I want the top of the base at, because I'm trying to keep it smaller if I can. You know, it's going to make a difference on all this stuff, cutting down the size class eventually on it, because I didn't want it gargantuan in size class. Originally I was shooting for a size class 5, but I don't think I'm going to pull that off, but I definitely wanted to try to keep it smaller. Or maybe it is possible to pull it off, it's just I'm not sure exactly what I would have to do that yet. And I also don't like this line row right here very much either. Or maybe it needs to just keep on, maybe I should twist it down once it's up in this area. Let's experiment with that. Could put in these, which is kind of the inverse of what I got on the other side, which works. Or could flip the angle, go to this one, and see what happens. I love doing this, kind of just, you kind of experiment. If you don't like it, well, remove it and try something else, basically. So if I went with this angle here, I'd end up with an angle like that, which actually kind of works out alright. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about the side pieces here yet, though. I suppose this part I could have actually turned on symmetry. No, I couldn't have. It would have been way on the other side. Never mind. Solar panel won't work there. Alright. So then let's just say we had a row of blocks in between. And that's if I still decide to keep solar panel positions here or not. Fitting like that though, it does fit pretty nicely. Kind of looks like they're made to hold solar panels, which is the point I wanted to have. Except I do have to keep that block space between them, or they don't line up right. But I wanted it to be down from the ceiling so I could fit the ceiling in there, and I think that will work to do that. I'll have to repeat this whatever I do here to the other side. Maybe I could actually copy and paste that chunk over there. Oh, that'd be a little bit of a time saver. Alright, so what the heck do I do with the edge now? Oh, and this side I suppose would have to be the same block type as the other side as well. Keep that all nice and uniform. So basically like that. So these larger builds too, I just try to look at everything as its own thing. Like rather than looking at this like, oh my god, this is so much to do, it's gonna take forever in a day. It's basically like, let's look at this one piece and we'll just work at this one little piece and we'll get that done. And then we'll move on to another piece. Like they're different builds, I guess. It's just how it makes it a little easier to work with large creations where they don't get so tedious. And anybody that's built something really, really large in this game that's detailed and everything else probably totally understands how tedious it gets, especially when you look at it as the whole thing, like, oh my gosh, it's going to take forever to finish. But if you kind of mentally break it down into little piece at a time, it's like a bunch of little builds as opposed to one big build, which for me, it makes it easier to work with and deal with. Alright, well, I do like the lines better here already. I gotta figure out how the bottom part's gonna be with that, but the rest of the lines are pretty good. Except for this indentation here, which no longer makes any sense. There's nothing there really to take it in. So I think I'm just gonna put flat blocks here. Well, angle blocks that match the same angle. I do think that's a better look for the solar panels for sure. And then on the top here, could go with what is there, but let's mix this up a little bit. Let's swap the angle, put in one of these instead, which also works. So then I can put in these blocks here and just change it a little bit there. Let me just make sure I rotate these the right way so I can independently texture the two edges better. That won't be there anymore either. Yeah, I think it looks better than what it did look like. Alright, so let's try to texture this part up in here in a minute too. Well, actually I better figure out what I'm doing with the bottom first here. So I've got this formation here. I'm wondering for looks wise, what if it had like a bar, like a beam that came down at an angle matching that angle down to here, and then across, and then back up over to here. And I think that would be quite easy to do using the same blocks I already been using for that other angle. Except it looks like it's at its biggest block. Yeah, try to deal with that in a minute. So we did that. Now what I mean by its biggest block means it's going to be a little hard because I wanted to take the inverse side of that and make it look like a beam, but it's awfully thick. Kind of think it's cool though, because you'd have a second one of those over there. Biggest problem, I think it's too thick. I could make that a little bit thinner, but I came into it at its maximum like block angle over here. So I'm wondering if it first came out another block, if I could then thin that up and make that angled beam look a little more appealing. Let's try that. Let's see what happens. So it'd be those, and then we reverse that same one, which is a little bit skinnier than it was at this other row here, which might make enough difference to make it worthwhile to try. Oops. Actually, I don't want to go down there. Let's take that and we'll level off the angle. Go straight across like that. Probably have to do, okay, let's just cut that inner part there for now. Oh, now we want that inside angle in there. So that's back. Let's get the right piece in here. That, and if I did that, I probably ought to just follow that on through right down. Kind of how it was, I guess. And I don't mind that too bad. Okay, so then that lines up pretty neatly on the edges here. So what if we flare that up with this one just a bit, so I can get a neat looking texture light right on that surface there. And actually probably could just follow that right through. See, my center point would be here on that side. This part here isn't jiving very well though. It's almost like I want to keep that line the same on both sides. Take a look at some of these. I don't think there's a part in here that would that would go from that to that transition. Well, that's alright. You know what though? It could just do this right across like that, and then you don't have the issue. And it kind of looks like it's a bit of a framework on the side of the bases, which is exactly what I'm trying to make this thing look like. Taking part of the, although different, those side rails that were in the Helios in between the module bays, I like that kind of framework look, and I'm trying to put some of that into this base as well. So something like that, I think could work. So on the bottom here, let's just fill that in for now. When you look at this as a whole, too, when you go around the whole base, hopefully, I'm trying to make it kind of, you know, so you can't really tell which way is front or back. And when you look around it, you'll just see angles, especially when you, in relation to like this whole 45-degree room. If you didn't realize you were looking at a 45 here, which you could simulate this not being a 45, it just makes everything look kind of funky and weird off, like you're using some blocks that don't exist. But so it's kind of part of the thing with it. Okay, so if I do keep that piece here, I gotta seriously figure out what I'm doing with these corners then, because this is kind of a mess if I do that. So how do we make these corners work again? Now, this block is pretty neat, but I'm not sure if I should start that here and go like that with it. Now there is a inverse of that, which does work, but it's not going to work out well with this angle here at all. And that would have to be raised up. Ooh, that's going to be weird there too. Get myself into trouble by changing these things sometimes, that's for sure. So if that was all square, then we've got that weird looking saggy thing there. That doesn't look right either. So, not cool. What if it just went into that saggy thing and then braced it? Like that's just some kind of extra beam on the outside. But then how is it going to fit over here and seem okay? So like on these areas here, I went out of the box and I went and used this set of that block and this block on the corners, which kind of present a weird angle there. I'm not 100% sure if I like that, but I guess it could work for now. I do like this little joggy thing over here, though. I think that's kind of neat. And I don't actually have to have interior space like starting right there, although it probably will. Alright, well, let's do a little bit of skinning over in this section. Ooh, this part. Oh, that's weird at the front of the solar panel, though. Just curious how it would come out if this was just kind of filled in. Could be a window or something here, I guess. I got an idea. How about let's use this part, which is kind of neat because you get a solid wall on like pretty much all the sides you'd want except for one. But then you get some kind of indentation there. So it adds a little bit of complexity with the polygons and stuff. Alright, so along the edges of the solar panels, God, should this be all bright or should I go darker here? Let's try dark. And just getting rid of all the wacky lines here first. Things that just would not line up. rest in. There's a weird line there. Alright, so on the edges here, too similar, I guess. Oh, I don't have any definition on this side. Amazing they spray so many and get rid of most of them, but yeah, it works. Okay. Of course, I want to get some texture, some different textures in that area to spruce it up a little bit, but for now I don't need those. So now, and then on this row, if it went dark again, just curious on what kind of effect, how that would look. So sure, I like that inner black line. Let's clean this up too. Yeah, this line over here, to me, it just doesn't seem like it's the right color. Well, whiter like that. Not so sure about this whole dark area I've got over here either. Again, experimenting with stuff. Okay, so now the inside of the solar panels. So try something like that. Especially if the solar panels are the same shade. Kind of plain Jane, but works. Did I never paint these in? No, I didn't. Okay, and then over here as well. Okay, now if I do it right, okay, so we got, basically we have dark here, and what looks really neat, and it was also done on some of these other creations like the Plutos and the Janus. I'll show you what I'm talking about here. The fact that it comes in all dark on the sides, but then you have this like frame piece here where the insides are painted dark, and then the front surface was painted light. And it kind of gives it that, I don't know, machinery look, you know, like you're some kind of drilling thing or something. I'm not sure exactly what that look is, but it'd be neat to do the same thing over here. So, basically saying that, okay, so we're all dark here, so if this front was actually light, that it would potentially look a little bit neater. So, let me, but only this front wall. The rest of it would be all dark. There's not a lot of front wall here to be had, but I'm kind of wondering if I should not change this bottom row of blocks now to do more front wall. I could do it at a half block form. It should not interfere with anything with the docking bay, as those don't technically start to the block row right below here. So if we popped in a couple of these and then some just straight half blocks, there we can get a little bit more frame. Like that. And then if we go dark, this doesn't give me much to work on there. Lighting I got here probably isn't perfect to see that, but or if I even like that or not. See, now I'm wondering maybe I shouldn't have done that with half blocks and just went with its main angle. Oh, see, I'm still bending it. I don't know if I want to bend it in this case. So maybe rather than that, I should be going to this other angle set. We're going to end up with a full block going down here. But, you know, I think that would be alright. And we'll have to change those back blocks here. And in this case, too, let's experiment and put in some of these. Oh, and actually, you know what? If there is a block row behind here, man, it's a bit thick, though. Whole thing's a little bit thick. Could do like that. Guess it keeps the angles right. Yeah, let's try it. That there, but I'm kind of doing the same thing behind there too. And I do have to remember that this is a module dock, so maybe this bar gets modified so it lines up better to the overall dock, which I might have to do after I work out this piece more, because it splits right down to like parts of it. If I had them both lined up there, could get a better idea on what that would look like. But I'll do this off screen, but basically I'm going to have to recreate this part or copy it over and replace this chunk over here with what I did on this side, which I think I can copy that over. That might not be too bad. And we've got some bunch of untextured stuff back over here. And those I think should be dark as well. I guess I'll try to go with the same thing here for now. Put in a couple like that, and oops. Let's give it something a little different there. It's getting a little better. I'm thinking I might again remove this this piece over here though too. Doesn't really fit super well, but you get the idea. I'll just keep on plugging away at this, so I'll be working out another video and trying to hit more parts of this. Eventually, getting this once this, you know, this big piece over here is actually done, and I can just 4-way copy that, and then I can start on some other aspects of the exterior of it, which would be the intended piece that comes down here. And I still have to evaluate solar. Like, it's going to be a little troubling with solar panel, and I kind of just, you know what I really wish? That both Vanilla and Reforge just, if they had a limit on solar panels, it's really high. Like, Like you could put in like 64 solar panels, I think would be a fair thing, or 128 or something like that, or just no limit whatsoever. Um, I think that would be awfully nice because right now I hate this. I love the 24 better than the 15 for sure, but um, but the two standards on a part like a solar panel, which typically, unless you just got a dedicated like little solar mast to hold a bunch of panels that you can add easily, if you embed them into your actual design, and you want it for vanilla and reforged Eden, you get yourself into an awful lot of trouble that way. Like this, like I can perfectly make this work with 24 solar panels by putting 6 per corner. And when you times that by 4, you got your 24 all embedded into the body of it. But that doesn't work for vanilla. Um, and I don't know. And vanilla's got that weird number count of 15, which doesn't work for any solar array unless you have like 3 rows of 5, um, or 5 rows of 3. That's really about the only combination that works, which would be for typically a single panel mass and not multiples or 2 or 4 or whatever. Um, same perfect example of how badly that screws you up is on the helix orbital on the helix orbital. Jeez, man, I can't speak anymore. Um, I totally did not want to do what I did over here. I was forced to. I wanted to have a maximum number of solar panels, but it's 15, and that just doesn't work out for any logical solar array. Period. Um, I don't know why that number was ever settled upon. I don't know why it hasn't been changed, or they realize how awkward that is. Um, so I ended up having to do like this weird, wacky thing out here so I could cram in the max number of solar panels, which was a lot of extra work. And honestly, it would have looked just better if I just had another couple rows of straight solar panels. And I originally wanted to put them on both sides. Wanted to put them going out the other way too, but that limitation kills you. But in this case, with Reforged Eden, with 24, I could have done this one thing, and I could have copied this over to the other side and chopped off this whole end weird little chunk of strangeness, and I would have been all set. It would have been exactly how it should have been. Except I would have wanted technically more. I would have liked, to run like double that if I had like another 3 rows going out on both sides. I think that would have been better yet. Um, all I got to say is take a look at like the International Space Station or anything that's solar powered in space, and you see that you need a lot of big solar panels, and you can't. Little dinky array for something that size like this would be trivial. It would hardly do anything. Um, give you some power, but very very little. For something that big, that just won't work out. So anyway, so I'll stop the video here, and next video I will try to keep on going with this. Now this week I did want to show some more creations by other authors as well. I do have one, a Creel Sharon. I got to check that one out and get it from the workshop yet, but I know what the name of it is now, and I was gonna randomly look at a couple other things, just things that I've caught my eyes over time, and things I've never spawned in or looked at up close and personal. So I'll try to do a video like that sometime this week, probably later this week, but most of it I'm going to try to be working on the space station here. A couple other updates with the little SVs. I still haven't done the interior on the MX4. Shouldn't take that long. It's really small ship. The MX3 I've got just about wrapped up. I think I showed that last video. I've been manipulating the thrusters and power on it though. It's been basically a thing of dealing with CPU on it. Oh, I did throw some LCDs in here as well, but I actually cut it down by 1 generator. Well, I made it work with 3 generators, 3 vanilla generators, instead of 4, and I removed some thrusters that were in these locations over here, to do that, which it didn't need in the first place because the main thrust was enough anyway. It lowered the CPU down a little bit, and it doesn't screw up, it doesn't mess up with the power anymore with the 3 vanilla generators. And the whole reason I don't want to run a Reforged generator is because vanilla doesn't have it. I'm trying to make this dual compatible. CPU wise, it's actually got about 750 left. I still would love to throw on a couple more rocket launchers too. Maybe reduce a couple Gatling guns and put on a couple more rocket launchers. I think that would be a better weapons outfit for it. So I might manipulate that a little bit more, and then I'll try to update the blueprint. Now, this is the MX3R. Biggest issue that's driving me up the wall is I don't have a 4th block here to put the R. So it's just, you have no idea how badly that's screwing with me. I experimented with putting in an LCD and trying to put like some kind of R letter like over the decals, or just replacing all the MX3 with just a straight decal. But because of the angled surface I got here, and it's not a 45, I can't line it up properly, and it like floats above it, and it just, to me, it would be a I've seen it look really nice on other ships with decals like that, but it's something I've never done with all the Merc MXs. I've always done them this way, and I don't want to just suddenly depart from that, going into like suddenly decals there, which these are supposed to be kind of quasi-military planes, and you just won't see big LCDs with model numbers on a military plane. It just, you probably won't even see this, but that's mainly just because I think it looks nice to have some more detail there as opposed to just nothing. And that's basically it. So yeah, anyway, I will stop ranting and get a better idea on a little bit more progression on this. Again, everything's subject to change. I think it also has a bit too much red on it right now, so that'll probably get toned down as well, and more textures, and maybe try to work out something that looks neater in this kind of, although there's a bunch of different angled blocks there, it's kind of blah, you know. So I might try to work out that too. I'll try to do that on another video here. And then also figure out the solution of how in the heck can I build this better so I can mount some LCDs like every few blocks to it, so I can put in the LCD markers like the Helios has for docking up. Especially going to want to do that on the angled ones, and this is a little bit too flimsy, although it uses relatively low block count, which is nice. Considering that the overall size of this is pretty big. The way it's built, I'm hoping it's not super size class big in the end, because it is. It's kind of efficient-ish. Well, I'll shut up. Maybe it's not. All right. Hey, see you later, everybody.